Hello, Rama Pupodu. Hope all are in good health, feeling great, wonderful, having a happy and peaceful life. Now let's continue with the next devotee, Venkatesa Shastri. Legendary masters, right from the Vedic rishis to Bhagavan, left their teachings so that we regain the natural state of being that they are established in. The fact is that whoever listens to or reads the teaching should intend to be that, not through an act of change, but by just being. A significant teaching in Who Am I is detachment or desirelessness. This is not different from wisdom. Desirelessness is refraining from turning the mind outwards to any object. Wisdom means the appearance of no object. In other words, not seeking anything other than the self is detachment or desirelessness. Not leaving the self is wisdom. One of Bhagavan's ardent devotees, a simple and humble man, practiced these two, absolute detachment and shining wisdom, in a very natural and remarkable way. He was none other than Venkatesa Shastri, or Shastri Mama as we fondly called him. Shastra means scriptures, and one who has mastered the Vedas is given the surname Shastri. Mama means uncle in Tamil. He lived in the world but was untouched by it. Soaked in wisdom at all times, he showed that there is no contradiction between work and wisdom. Shastri Mama was Bhagavan's distant cousin. His mother passed away when he was very young, and his father married a second time. Though his stepmother often tortured and ill treated him, he suffered her atrocities silently. When he was 3 years old, she twisted his hand and thrust it into the kitchen fire. His fingers were permanently deformed, but he bore the scar of the horrific incident uncomplainingly. His father, unable to mend his wife's ways, took him further south to Kochi, in Kerala, where he thought his son would be happier. He enrolled him in a residential school of Ayurveda, which also taught astrology. Fortunately, the mentor of that school was the head of the royal family of Kochi, an impressive astrologer and Ayurvedic doctor himself. Shastri Mama was exceptionally brilliant. Within a year, he mastered thousands of Sanskrit verses, which normally took over 15 years to learn. The teacher was so impressed by this boy's genius that he decided to mentor him personally. He took his protege back with him to his palace and told him, "Ordinary astrology is not your subject. I am going to teach you Prashana, the highest form of astrology." The literal meaning of the word prashna is question. In ordinary astrology, when a child is born, a horoscope is cast based on the planetary alignments at the time of birth. The horoscope is referred to throughout the child's life, and his or her future is predicted through an intellectual interpretation of planetary alignments in the horoscope. On the other hand, a person who has mastered prashna does not need the horoscope. Instead, he mentally draws the birth chart based on mathematical calculations using the time of questioning, the name, the direction in which the questioner is facing, the place from where he hails, his father's name, his mother's name, the first letter of the sentence of the question, the first word of the question, etc. He then taps into his well of higher intuitive knowledge and waits for an answer. The predictions come from within. Needless to say, they are accurate because they come from the intuition, inner understanding. When Shastri Mama completed his course, he was obliged, as per Hindu custom, to give his teacher Guru Dakshina, an offering made in gratitude for knowledge imparted. The teacher was very proud of him, but knew that Venkatesa Shastri was too poor to give him anything. He said, "I am going to ask you for Guru Dakshina. Whatever you want, my master, please let me know." His disciple replied. The teacher gave him a picture of Lord Subramanya, the second son of Lord Shiva. Subramanya is the god of wisdom. silence, and absolute detachment. Worship him, and he will guide you all your life. This is the Guru Dakshina I want from you. The teacher said. Shastri Mama took his teacher's gift as his blessings and went back to his village. He became a renowned and prosperous astrologer whose predictions were always accurate. One day, one of his uncles brought him a picture of Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. Shastri Mama placed the picture with reverence in his puja room, next to Lord Subramania's picture. One morning, when meditating, he opened his eyes and saw the picture of Bhagavan transforming into the Lord's picture, and the Lord's picture turning into Bhagavan's image. Unsure whether it was a dream or vision, he observed this transfiguration for nearly half an hour. He felt that perhaps his teacher had wanted him to have Lord Subramania in human form to be his guide all his life. So, in 1917, he came to visit Bhagavan at Kanda Ashramam. As soon as he arrived, Mother Alagammal recognized him as a relative. Bhagavan too concurred. Yes, I know, he is Subbu's son. Before meeting Bhagavan, most of his devotees had only heard his name and had no idea of his spiritual stature. Therefore, none had any preconceived notions of his significance, but all realized it in their first meeting with him. Similarly, when Shastri Mama saw Bhagavan, he realized he had found his Lord and Guru, the Lord of renunciation, wisdom, and silence, even though Bhagavan had not yet spoken a single word to him. He was convinced that Prashna, his chosen branch of astrology, was the most perfect science. He mustered courage, approached Bhagavan, and in all humility, yet with full conviction, put the following question: Bhagavan, is not astrology the best and most accurate of all sciences? Bhagavan looked at him intently for some time. Slowly but firmly he replied, the science of the self is superior to all other sciences. Shastri Mama was at the height of his career, and every prediction of his was enormously rewarded. He was thus earning a lot of money, amassing wealth. These conclusive words from the master sowed the seed of renunciation in him. He felt it was futile to live in an ever-changing world and decided to live with his master. But according to Hindu custom, if an elderly relative is present, one must take guidance from him or her. So he went to Bhagavan's mother and said, I want to renounce the world and stay with Bhagavan. How can you do that? She exclaimed. We have decided on a girl for you right from your childhood, and she is waiting for you. You must honor this commitment and marry her. How can you come away here? Shastri Mama glanced at Bhagavan. Bhagavan gave a smile of approval. Shastri Mama went back to his village, married the girl. Her name was Visalakshi, and she was called Sala. He then lived very happily for a few years as a successful astrologer. The following is an example of his mastery of Prashna. After his marriage, he spent much of his time in his puja room. Once, when he had a visitor, Sala informed him, Nagappa Chettiar has come. Shastri Mama replied without even getting up. He has lost his diamond ring and suspects that his servant had stolen it. Tell him he should not suspect anyone. While Chettiar was washing his clothes in his courtyard, his diamond ring slipped from his finger and now lies underneath the banana tree near the well. The prediction proved to be absolutely accurate. This was the precision with which he worked. Not surprisingly, even the police came to him for assistance in tracking down criminals. After some time, a son was born to them. He drew his son's horoscope and, to his terrible shock, realized that his son was destined to die in his teenage. The horoscope also said that he would not have another son. He did not tell his wife this, but overcome with grief, he sought refuge in Bhagavan at Ramana Ashramam. While Bhagavan was going up the hill, Shastri Mama followed him and told him about his son's horoscope and its dire prediction. After walking some distance, Bhagavan turned to him and said, You have been in Kerala, in the far south, in Kochi. You must have noticed plenty of jackfruits. A jackfruit is a tropical fruit bigger than a watermelon, and its uniqueness lies in the fact that the fruit comes out of the trunk of the tree and not from the branches. At the time of bearing fruit, many shoots spring out, but only a few survive, while the rest wither and drop away. The tree finally bears only a few fruits. Bhagavan continued. To give room for the bigger and healthier fruits, the other shoots, almost 50 or 60 of them, around one big fruit, drop off. Shastri Mama immediately understood that Bhagavan was not going to rescue his son. He prostrated before Bhagavan and went back to his village. Before leaving, he held Bhagavan's feet, wept, and said, "What is the refuge for me? Give me courage." Bhagavan then quoted the verse, Hridaya Kuhara Magya, which he had composed in Virupaksha cave. In the center of the heart cave, there shines alone the one Brahman, pure awareness, as the I, the self, reach the heart by diving deep in the quest of the self, or by controlling the mind with the breath, and stay established the self. In the self. Hearing this, Shastri Mama was established in complete trust and faith that he had two causes which were in fact complementary: to do self-enquiry and to completely surrender. To do self-enquiry, one must completely surrender, and to surrender, one must do self-enquiry. On his return, he told Sala and his son, "I have decided to go and live with my master, but I will not leave you in the lurch. I will earn enough for both of you to live comfortably. I will provide for you and then go. My decision is final." His wife, though a simple, illiterate villager, gave a prudent reply. "If you are going to a place, giving up all of this, then what world must be better than this? Why don't you take me along with you? Why do you want to leave me in a lesser place?" Shastri Mama asked in surprise, "But what about our son? I thought you will want to stay here and bring him up." To this his wife replied, "I will leave him with my younger brother and come with you." In Hindu families, relatives gladly step in to help, and such responsibilities are not considered burdens. Shastri Mama warned her, "I am going there as a beggar. I will not pursue my profession in astrology and won't earn money. I am going to live with my master, completely without desire, absolutely detached and aspiring for wisdom. I will do whatever my master says and don't even know how I am going to get food or shelter." Resolute, she insisted, "Whether you experience pain or pleasure, success or failure, achievement or failure, I would like to share it with you." According to Hindu laws, a wife has the right to demand this share from her husband. As she was prepared to undergo any austerity with him, Shastri Mama could refuse her no more. They reached Ramana Ashramam, and since in those days women could not stay at the ashramam, Chinnaswamy, Bhagavan's younger brother and manager, told Shastri Mama, "Do puja in the shrine of the mother and let your wife stay in town with my son Venkates's family. Let us serve and be with Bhagavan's sister and Venkates's wife while you serve here." Shastri Mama communicated this to Bhagavan. Bhagavan kept quiet for some time and then turned to him saying, "Attend to the purpose for which you came." Shastri Mama understood what Bhagavan meant. His function was not to do puja and work for food. The reason for which he came was to give up everything, be without desire and discover wisdom. After all, desirelessness and wisdom are the same. He took his wife with him to Adi Annamalai, a remote village halfway around the hill, and lived in shelter there. Every morning the couple would walk around the hill to spend the day with Bhagavan, with no thought of food from the ashram. In the evening they would complete their circumambulation of the hill and return to the shelter. People in the village began to notice this simple couple and took pity on them. They had no vessels, no rice or lentils to cook, so the kind villagers started bringing bananas, peanuts as well as some roots and begged them to eat. They supported the pious and simple couple like this for many years. Being in Bhagavan's presence every moment, austerity became deeply rooted in Shastri Mama and Sala. Both lived on peanuts and bananas, or whatever the compassionate villagers placed before them. Though the ashram served delicious food, they were not tempted. They forgot what it was like to eat rice, wheat, pulses, and other things in the staple Indian diet, and yet they were completely happy. Let's continue in the next chapter. Thank you. Bye bye. Rama Rama Puppoda.